We picked up this video at the Visitor Center of 395 and Highway 190. It is already excessively hot, and I have a hotel room booked in Beatty, Nevada, so I don't have the luxury of a lot of extra time. The scenery is pretty spectacular as you climb up over the mountains, but the best is yet to come. Once you approach the descent into Death Valley, you have the beautiful Rainbow Canyon. Rainbow Canyon is very famous for being Star Wars Canyon, where military jet fighters fly down the canyon. There's a point there called Padre Point, dedicated to Father John Crowley. We'll talk about John in just a few minutes in this video. There's a trip that I wanted to make, and that is to Darwin Falls. But at the time that I was making this trip, the only parking was on the shoulder of 190. The normal road was in disrepair getting out to Darwin Falls in the parking area. Normally, it's about a 1.5 mile hike, I understand. I haven't researched it in any detail because I wasn't going to do it. But I do know that the National Park Service tells you not to start that hike and to try to complete it by 10 a.m. on the summer months because of the heat. I know that first portion of the hike is in direct sun with no shade. It's supposed to be worth it. There's a little oasis back in there, but I've never had a chance to do it. Now on with the drive. I did not stop at the Panamint Oasis, but I did continue up to Rainbow Canyon. And there's a sign marker there dedicated to Padre or Father John Crowley. I wanted to take a little bit of time and just mention him real briefly. He was a huge figure in the development of the Owens Valley to tourism. He had originally had that area as part of his initial parish, which was huge. That parish was bigger than the whole country of Ireland, and he put 50,000 miles on his Model T in his first 16 months, trying to service the whole area from San Bernardino County, Kern County, Inyo County, and his area extended all the way from Mount Whitney over to Death Valley, all the way down to Barstow. And in those days, the roads were horrific. He soon abandoned the conventional ways of traveling. He took out everything but the driver's seat of his car, and a lot of times would sleep in his car. He spent as much as 16 hours a day driving. Amazing man. He got a temporary assignment for a few years. I believe it was 10 years over to Fresno. Then he came back to this area that he loved. He was shocked by the transformation of the Owens Valley. The big thing that happened was the water for the Owens Valley had been grabbed by LA. And that's interesting with the fires that we have right now. There was a plan with the LA basically grabbing up all the land, buying it, and diverting the water out of the Owens Valley. It had gone from being extremely lush farmland to just unbelievably desolate. And the people left behind during the Depression were really suffering. Father John Crowley came up with a plan to promote tourism. He knew the area really well, and he knew about the outdoor activities, the fly fishing, the beautiful hikes, the beautiful lakes, and he decided that he would do several things. One of them was he had a great background in marketing and publicity and things like that. So he was the ideal person, I'd say, chosen by God to fulfill this mission. But he began to really promote the Owens Valley and even Highway 190 that we're talking about now. So he was a pivotal figure in bringing tourism into the Owens Valley. He also was a scholar, and he realized that the water flow charts and the scandalous history of LA County acquiring water, that they had constructed their dam in the wrong place. If they had built the dam where it should have been built, there would have been plenty of water for the Owens Valley and also for LA. But at this time, it was going to take a lot of effort to have that happen. Now we have the famous location of the Long Valley Dam and the lake there named Lake Crowley. Unfortunately, he died before he saw that come to fruition. An amazing man of vision. He was successful in some of his promotions what an amazing man. He really turned the whole Owens Valley situation around. The people went from having no hope to actually embracing the tourism as it came in, the film industry coming into the Alabama Hills, which I showed in my last video, started to really make the area blossom, and it is what it is today, and it is an area that's absolutely beautiful. I also have a comment. There's a memorial marker for Father John Crowley there at Rainbow Canyon. There's also a memorial for a Navy pilot that in Star Wars Canyon, which is Rainbow Canyon, was flying and probably too low. And in aviation, it's really unforgiving of just a simple, quick mistake. Rather than me explain what that simple mistake was, I'm going to let Juan Brown from the Blanco Lirio channel describe what happened. And I'm excerpting just maybe 20 seconds of his video to explain it. He does a better job than I do. I was probably a little bit too critical in the original audio, so I'm just going to let Juan Brown speak it.
Was there just a brief second of changing his mind whether he wanted to fly down the canyon or do the pop-up maneuver? Or did he realize that he was going too fast and he was too low to make the turn to fly down the canyon and then transition to a emergency dive recovery? We just can't tell because the data's not there in the last 3 seconds. But regardless, he simply put himself in too low and too fast of a position to safely recover the aircraft. Lieutenant Walker was one of the most experienced pilots in the squadron, one of the most experienced low-level pilots. He had been on leave a week prior. He had flown the same profile just the day before. Was he simply just pushing it too hard? We don't know. Lots of lessons to be learned. Thanks so much for your support of this channel. See you here.
That crash happened in 2019. Now they're still using the canyon for training. I would love to be out there and to be able to photograph it. When this crash did happen, there were 7 tourists that were hit by debris and burned by this pilot's hitting the mountainside. It is an absolutely beautiful mountain valley that comes through there. It's called Rainbow Canyon. As I proceeded down 190 into Death Valley, because of Hurricane Hillary, a lot of the road was in poor condition. There were still tons of tourists, and my whole goal was to visit a couple key points and look at the airports, both Stovepipe Wells and Furnace Creek, and then get back and get over to Beatty before the day got too long. I was already kind of tired. Hi guys. Hey, a little brief review of the Motel 6 here in Beatty, Nevada. So far on this trip, this is the cleanest Motel 6, one of the nicer properties I've stayed in. The rate was very reasonable. Right next door in the casino over there, there's a Subway. There's also right up the street a Denny's. So a particularly nice place to stay, kind of an oasis environment. Actually, this is truly what's called the Oasis Valley, and it does have a supply of water. I walked down and kind of checked out the history of the place. And again, there's my Chevy pickup, adding a little bit of charm, if you can see it there in the shadows. It's a little joke. But anyway, a lot of families here, and a lot of adorable kids, and there's a family over there getting ready to pack up.